Am I the a-hole for sleeping with my sister's husband? I, 29 female, find myself in a complicated and difficult situation that has strained my relationship with my sister, 31 female. I recently slept with her husband and now she refuses to speak to me. However, I genuinely believe that I am not solely to blame for the fallout and I need an impartial judgment on whether I am the a-hole in this scenario. Prior to the incident, I noticed some questionable behavior from my brother-in-law, 33 male, towards me. Feeling concerned about my sister's well-being, I decided to address the issue with her. However, she dismissed my concerns, leaving me unsure of how to proceed. My sister works as a flight attendant and is gone more than she is at home. My brother-in-law recently lost his job and was feeling depressed. During one of her frequent absences from home, she asked me to keep her husband company. She trusted me and didn't believe the warnings that I gave her before about his behavior towards me, but I saw this as an opportunity to support their marriage and help them rebuild their connection. Unfortunately, as we spent more time together, our bond deepened and we eventually crossed a line that should never have been crossed. We had been both drinking and he was complaining to me about the troubles in their marriage and how he hasn't been for a while. He was crying and I decided to comfort him. One thing led to another and we did the unthinkable. I woke up realizing the nature of what I did and immediately realized the nature of what had happened. We both were so intoxicated that we stupidly ended up falling asleep. I woke up to my sister screaming and hitting the both of us, screaming, "How could you do this to me? We're sisters. I trusted you." She wouldn't even give me a chance to explain and kicked me out of the house. Now my sister refuses to speak to me. She has filed for divorce. Our parents are siding with her, saying that I violated every family moral. However, I believe that there are more... The audacity. I believe that there are multiple factors at play here. I am not the only one responsible for the breakdown of their marriage. While I acknowledge my mistake, I also question why my sister failed to address the issue in her relationship and why she left her husband in my care without setting clear boundaries. I think the clear boundaries here is that they're married. I mean, what more do you need? I do feel a sense of guilt and remorse for my actions, but I also recognize that my sister and her husband had their fair share of problems. It's unfair to place all the blame on me when there were underlying issues that existed long before our involvement. That being said, I understand my sister's anger and hurt. I am willing to accept responsibility for my actions and make amends, but I also believe that it is crucial for her to acknowledge her role in this situation. Rebuilding trust and repairing a relationship will require open and honest communication from both parties. I'm sharing my story. I hope for an unbiased judgment and guidance on how to navigate this difficult situation. Am I the a-hole for sleeping with my sister's husband? Wow, out of all the stories I've read so far, okay, never mind. But this has to be top 5 of people with so much audacity. Why would she trust me with her husband? She should have set clear boundaries. I think the clear boundaries were the fact that they're married, and marriage seems like a clear-cut boundary. Like, what more boundaries do you need other than the fact that this is a married man? Oh, and the fact that he's your sister's husband. Update. Okay, guys, I get it. You guys have ripped me apart in the comments, and yeah, I admit I messed up. After deeply reflecting on my actions and seeking advice from others, I have come to realize the extent of hurt and damage I caused to my sister. I genuinely regret my behavior and am now fully aware that I was in the wrong. There is no excuse for what I did, and I think I was trying to excuse my actions because the thought of it always was too painful. Last night, after reading comments, I mustered up the courage to reach out and apologize to my sister. Unfortunately, despite my sincere efforts, she has not only refused to speak to me, but has also blocked from all forms of communication. The fact that my sister has taken such measures is deeply upsetting to me. I yearn for her forgiveness and genuinely want her back in my life. However, I understand that I cannot force her to reconcile or forgive me on my terms. I have sought advice from friends and family on how to navigate this situation, but it seems like the best course of action for now is to respect her boundaries and give her the space she clearly needs. I have continued to reflect on my actions and have sought therapy to address the underlying issues that led to my hurtful behavior. I found some online and plan calling soon to get started up to help figure out the root for my behavior. I am committed to personal growth and becoming a better person, regardless of whether or not my sister chooses to reconnect with me, in which I will never give up trying. While I hold on to hope that one day my sister will be willing to reopen the lines of communication, I also acknowledge the possibility that she may never want to speak to me again. Regardless, I will continue to grow, learn, and reflect on my actions, knowing that healing and you guys, I can never pronounce that word. Reconciliation, see, are processes that cannot be rushed or forced. I hope my sister sees my remorse and my effort to grow. I will update if anything further happens. Wow, like I mean, at least she owned up to her mistakes, you guys. I mean, oftentimes we see a lot of people come on here and they're like the absolute worst people on God's green earth, and they never admit the fact that they're wrong. So at least she admitted that she's wrong, and we've started reflecting on it. I feel like at first she was nothing but ego driven, but now I'm starting to see, I hope she changes, because sleeping with your sister's husband is really not the vibe. Like, please, do you find another hobby? Am I the a-hole for embarrassing my fiance by saying that just because we are getting married does not entitle him to my inheritance? I, 32 female, recently got engaged to my partner, 35 male, just a year ago. As of right now, we have been together for 5 years and our wedding is planned for May 2025. I am just going to get straight into it. Unfortunately, only a couple weeks after our engagement, my nana passed away. The reason for it I will not disclose. My nana and grandpa worked extremely hard throughout their lives, were very successful, educated, and had really high paying jobs. They are very restricted on spending money young, so lived their elderly years with lots of it. Worth noting, my grandpa is very intelligent man, and he's very smart with money and investments, so when I say lots, I do mean lots. My nana wrote a hugely generous sum of money into her will that was to be inherited by me, my brother, and my 3 cousins. Even after the money was divided up, there was still thousands to each of our names. I also won't disclose the exact amount. When I heard the news, I told my fiance, and he was incredibly overjoyed, much more than I expected him to be. I went along with it and shrugged it off until later in the day I heard him on the game with his mate saying, "I can pay my credit card off with that money, mate. We can finally get the boys' holiday we've been planning." And laughing. I walked into the room and asked what money, and he immediately looked at me funny and said, "From your nan, babe." I immediately exploded on him, said, "You won't be paying anything off without my permission, and there most certainly will be no boys' holiday. It's not your money to have. It's written to me from my nana. It's not for you." We had a shouting match, and I left the room upset. He later got off the game and found me in the kitchen, where he scolded me again and said, "We are getting married. You will become my financial burden. Any money you take in is mine also. It was incredibly selfish of you to make such a fool out of me in front of my friends and giving them false hope of a holiday." Again, worth noting, it wasn't me who said anything about a holiday, and where I became a financial burden, I don't know, considering I am in a very good job and I don't want children. I left the house without saying a word, and I am typing this at my friend's house right now. I forgot to mention that this incident has literally just happened. The reason my fiance only just found out is because until now, even I didn't know if the money was coming to me or not, due to several family and court complications. Am I the a-hole? First of all, getting into a screaming, shouting match, whatever she said, with someone over their money is crazy. Why would he assume all of these, that he's going to be paying off his credit card bill, and then he's going to be getting a boys' holiday? And what's even more crazy is promising your friends that you're going to be taking them on holiday on someone else's money that they didn't even agree to give you to begin with. That's the crazy part. Like, OP's husband's already future husband is already doing the gaslighting and manipulating thing off the gate, and they're not even married. So imagine how worse it's going to be when they do get married.